Aloha! Welcome to Kokua Hawaii Foundation's ＡINA Cooking for Change, a virtual family cooking series hosted by Chef Ed Kenney, Kokua Hawaii Foundation board member and co-owner of Town Hospitality Group. Our second ＡINA Cooking for Change session features Chef Mark Noguchi and his family, who will be cooking ulu fries and making a kitchen sink dipping sauce. This webinar will be recorded and available to view after the live Zoom on the Kokua Hawaii Foundation website. Details will be sent to all participants in a wrap-up email. This Zoom webinar will be in presenter mode only, so only the presenters will have video and audio capabilities. The best way for participants to interact with Chef Mark throughout the session is to use the chat box. Kokua Hawaii Foundation staff will be monitoring your questions and comments, so please drop your questions and comments for Chef Mark there, and we'll share them throughout the webinar. Please make sure to select all panelists and attendees when you send in your chats so everyone can see your comments. Let's practice using the chat box right now by having everyone tell us how many family members you're cooking with today, what city or even state you're tuning in from, and why you love ulu. Make sure you go down into the chat button and select all panelists and all attendees in the drop-down. Aloha Athena and her family from Honolulu. We've got Makiki coming in. I love it. The Joy Ohana is here again for week number 2 at Ho'olehua Moloka'i. Thank you so much for sending us your beautiful photo last week. We encourage you all to take photos of your family cooking along with Chef Mark today, and of your family with the final plated dish. Be sure to share them on Facebook or Instagram and tag Kokua Hawaii Foundation, Chef Hui Hawaii, Whole Foods, and Hawaii Ulu Co-op. If you don't have social media but would like to send us photos that we can share, please email them to aina@kokuahawaiifoundation.org. At the end of October, we'll be selecting 6 of our favorite photo submissions from the entire Cooking for Change series, and each winner will receive a $50 Whole Foods Market gift card. Thank you again for joining us. And now let's get cooking for change.
Gang, happy National Farm to School Month and happy Sunday Family Fun Day. I'm Ed Kenney, chef owner of Town Hospitality Group and a board member for Kokua Hawaii Foundation. Kokua Hawaii Foundation is actually the reason we're all here today, and if you didn't know, a little history. Back in 2003, Kim and Jack Johnson noticed there was a need for environmental education in our schools and our communities. So out of that, Kokua Hawaii Foundation was born. All sorts of programs this organization does. Plastic-free Hawaii, farm field trips, the 3 R's recycling program, but the one that is most near and dear to my heart is ＡINA in schools. Who knows what ＡINA is here? Of course, it's Hawaiian or Olelo Hawaii for the earth. More specifically, that which provides us food. In this case, ＡINA is actively integrating nutrition and agriculture in schools. There's curriculum that has standards-based farming curriculum. They're getting agricultural literacy. They're learning all sorts about nutrition, giving the kids the tools they need to make wise food decisions. What I really love most about this organization is this time of year, October, National Farm to School Month. Year after year, they hold ＡINA chef visits. They recruit chefs from all over the state to visit their local community schools, work in the gardens, and cook with the kids. This year, as you know, we've gone virtual. This is our second session of ＡINA Cooking for Change. Who joined us last week and saw Dave and Opal making pasta pesto with ulu? Who saw it? Who saw it? I did. It was awesome. So educational, so fun, and so ono. The pasta pesto kind of lesson is probably one of my favorites to do with the kids because you're using many times basil from the garden, rolling out fresh pasta. It's one of those lessons that never disappoints and always gets the desired results. Last year, for instance, after I gave that lesson, probably 3 or 5 days later, a family walks into the restaurant from one of the kids that was in the class. Mom pulls me inside and says, "Chef, I don't know what you did, but you got my son to eat salad and things that are green. He's never done that." I just had to laugh. You know what we did? We got them out tilling the soil. They got dirt under their fingernails. They sowed seeds. They grew plants. We took those plants into the classroom, cooked food with it, and ate it. It's really kind of no-brainer. You grow food together with your family. You cook food together with your family. You eat and enjoy food together as a family. One thing I've learned growing up with kids myself is that kids don't listen to their elders. They emulate their elders. And that's what this is all about. You guys are probably thinking, come on, let's just get to some cooking. And we're gonna do that. But first, I gotta do a couple shout outs to our partners in this. First off, Hawai'i Ulu Co-op out of the Big Island. For years and years, if you wanted ulu, even if you knew what it was, you'd have to know a friend or grow it yourself. This group has given an outlet and a commercial venue for small diversified farmers throughout the state. You can find ulu if you ever want it. Foodland, down to earth, chef zone. That's probably why we have ulu in all of our chef cooking kits this month. And it's actually a really, really fun vegetable. Here I am working with ulu now. I'm making dinner for ourselves tonight, and we're pounding ulu as if it were kalo and making pa'iai with it. Add a little water to this, you'll actually have ulu poi. This is probably one of my wife's favorite foods. I often like to say ulu is the new kale. Who else do we need to shout out to? Chef Hui. These guys, if you guys have a cooking kit, it came in a beautiful insulated bag like that. It comes from Chef Hui. This is a group, a very new group that just came about because they recognized a need brought about by COVID-19. They saw that farmers were kept with an abundance of produce that they couldn't sell. Restaurants were hurting and communities were hungry. So what this group has done, they've been able to go out and get funding from private and public sources, provide free food to hungry communities that is prepared using local products by hurting restaurateurs like myself. And if there truly is a win-win-win definition for a program, Chef Hui is it. And as it turns out, we've got one of the co-founders of Chef Hui as our guest chef today. I am extremely proud to introduce to you Chef Mark Noguchi and his two beautiful girls, Ellie and Frankie, who are going to make something for you with you using ulu. Aloha! Chee-hoo!
Yep, you're good. No, you're good. Yeah.
Are we here? We ready to go? Hello, everybody.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Yesterday, I had the privilege to sit with Alex and give out many of our kumu'ulu boxes that we were giving away. And now we are here. I'm Amanda with my husband, Mark, and we have Aki here with us today to do a little cooking with you. But it was so nice to see so many familiar faces picking up your kumu'ulu boxes. And we went to Mahalo today, Hawai'i Ulu Co-op. They got together these great boxes. You're gonna see what's inside of them shortly. They were able to gather the boxes together so that we could give them out and share them with all of you today. So before we get started cooking, we just want to talk a little bit about, for Mark and I, how we came to be a part of an amazing organization like the ＡINA in Schools program. When I was still a young lad, many moons ago, I heard about the organization and thought it would be a great way for me to give back to the community. So I started doing gardening lessons and cooking lessons, and this is way before I met Mark here. And I was very dedicated to Waikiki Elementary, the school that I was in and volunteering with. And once Mark and I met together, we started going together and volunteering with ＡINA in Schools. So we would pound pa'iai, we made chocolate truffles, and this was before we had children of our own. So now to bring it full circle for us, we're so excited. We only have one daughter here. We're in our friend's kitchen up on the North Shore. We had a little beach weekend getaway. So there's really only room for the 3 of us in this kitchen. So Aki, our youngest one, who just turned 5, she's really taken to cooking. We feel it's so important to cook with your kids from the beginning. And Aki has been helping along the way at age-appropriate cooking. So she's with us today in the kitchen. We're going to get started, and we really thank you for all of you who've supported Chef Hui. We're so thankful to have an organization that is like-minded with our beliefs and to be able to collaborate together. So shall we get started? You think it's about time? Anything you want to say? We're wearing our matching Chef Hui shirts. And let's see what we have in our box here, in our Kumu box.
Aloha, gang. Okay. So, mahalo to everybody that participated, like my wife said. Also, we got to give a real big shout out to Kimmy Werner and Justin Churkowski. You know, cooking, and you'll see later on when we make the sauce, cooking is about using what we have and also just kind of going with the flow. One curveball that we had here today was, while we were very fortunate to spend some time up north with our North Shore ʻOhana, we realized that, and it's a blessing, there was no Wi-Fi. So, bottom of the night, made some calls. Kimmy guys said, you know, come on down, you can do it in our house. Had some help from their friends for setting up. So, mahalo to everybody that helped us get up and running. Frankie,
let's use the
got the Kumulu box. Open her up, baby. Pull it out. So first off, for the Hawaii Ulu Co-op guys, awesome, 100% recycled cardboard and the insulation as well. What is this? So, yeah. So 500 boxes were provided. Unreal. Mahalo Hawaii Ulu Co-op. So we got some, we got the apron, we got some stickers, and the meat of it. Babe, you want to break it down what it is? Here, Frankie, can you put it off to the side? You can peel it after.
So for those of you that were able to get a box, you probably have your apron here, and I hope you all are wearing it while you're cooking with us. Aki and Ellie love to wear their apron. We have a Revolution, if you will, see with the ulu in here, sticker. We encourage you to put them on your canteens. A great story you can read, The Gift of Ku, you can read later. And for those of you who were not able to get a box ahead of time, you can still order the box. It has great educational tools in it that you and your ohana can do together. So you can go to eatredfruit.com and order a box there if you'd like to order one for your family. And after all your hard work, you can try this amazing ulu chocolate mousse. It's dairy-free. It's made right here in Hawaii, on Hawaii Island. And we're really excited. We've been testing this recipe for a long time, and it's super ono. It's good for ice cream, all kinds of good stuff. So that's your dessert if you eat all of your dinner with your ulu fries. We're going to go through 2 different kinds of ulu, and Mark will do this with you, but you have your pound of ripe ulu or you have your mature ulu, and we'll talk about the differences. Yeah. But you can make the fries with either one. So if you want to test it out, I would choose one to go along with the demo. Perhaps you even just watch the demo right now and go back and watch it and cook along when you can stop and start it. We'll remind Mark not to go too fast, but we've been doing, I don't know how many of these demos since we started. And these chefs, they're quick at doing things. So sometimes it helps to just watch it this first time and then go back and actually cook after you have watched it so that you can stop and start it. But we'll talk a little bit more about the ripe and the mature ulu.
And don't forget about the chocolate mousse.
So good, I talked about
chocolate mousse.
And then we have a little quiz sheet. So you and your ohana can go back after this, talk about the differences, what you learned, and share this along the way. I think that the hope of this is to have fun in the kitchen, to do a little bit of education. As we say, we're making lemonade out of lemons. It's weird that we're all home together much more than we've been in the past. But this is a great time to cook together as family and to make cooking together part of education, part of science. And our girls can do a lot of things that I, as a child, would have never thought about doing, but I think it's because they've been doing it from the beginning. Yeah. So let's get started. I'm going to move out of the way and let you and Aki, the real chefs, take it away.
Yeah.
Have fun, everybody.
So, gang, in your Kumulu kit, right, you got the 2 types of ulu, the ripe and the mature. The ripe being a little bit softer, right, and then the mature just being kind of ready for go. How do you know if ulu is ready for go? Yes, dear. You want me to stop? Okay, you got it. So here we go. So this is, let me get in the camera there. There you go. I feel like I'm docking a space station. So this guy right here, I just picked it off the tree. It came down from Waialua's side. Now, if I were being really critical of my ulu, you can tell there's not that much sap coming out. You see these little white dots right here? These little white dots. This is sap. If this ulu was a little bit more sappy, is when personally, that's when I would pick it. I found that when she starts to weep a little bit of sap like that is when she's ready to go. When we take it off the tree, what I like to do is rest it about 24 hours. For if any of you have already cooked an ulu, I'm sure you've experienced where like you cut into it, the sap gets on your knife, it feels impossible to clean off. Kitchen hack, a little bit of oil rubbed on any kind, canola oil, olive oil, macnut oil, whatever. Rub it on your knife, and that'll help to clean it off right there. It's like a degreaser, okay? In this case, we're gonna get into it. So, if I had a fresh ulu, I'm gonna take the ends off the same way that I would if I was cutting a watermelon, okay? You know, it's a privilege to partner with Kokua Hawaii Foundation. For myself, you know, I'm a proud alumnus of Town Restaurant under Ed and Dave. I got to see a lot of ingredients that, you know, we ate in college on our own, like never in a restaurant. But if you're in Waipio Valley, you're camping, you know, you love all ulu, what have you. Here we are now, however many years later, and we get to do this for a living. We get to share this for a living. That's precious. So definitely needs to mahalo, you know, Hawaii Ulu Co-op and a Kokua Hawaii Foundation. Ulu, you know, it's a complex carbohydrate, and it is what Kokua Hawaii Foundation calls a protective food group. And if you look at their food chart, you can actually see ulu on two sides. It is not just an energy food, but it's a protective food. It gives us energy and it helps our immune system, okay? And this food chart here it's a great local sort of, thanks, babe. It's a great local guide to foods that we eat. You know, here in Hawaii, because we are bound together through our you know, multi-ethnic heritage and culture, the USDA food group sometimes for some of us is kind of confusing, right? Let's be real. Let's just straight up and put it out there. It's a little hard. You look at the USDA food group and like a third of those foods that we don't really eat. So this is the stuff we eat. And then also down here, obviously, is stuff that we need to stay away from, yeah? So once I cut off my two ends, okay, I'm gonna cut it like I was peeling a watermelon. I'm gonna follow the skin. Go around. Frankie, you want to cut? You want to cut? Come on in. Okay. And if you're wondering what I dropped in the water earlier, I dropped the mature ulu inside already. And I dropped it in salted water with some baking soda, and I'll get to that in just a minute. Okay, Frankie, you want to cut it? So our girls have been cooking with us since Friday could walk. And one thing we've learned is like, never dumb it down for your kids, okay? Put them in the mix. And while, turn, there you go, there you go, there you go. You know, and while of course you need to watch your kids, you do it with them. There you go. Anything is possible. Okay, I want you to cut down the middle. Okay. At this point here, we're going to cut the seed out. There you go. That'll go. Thanks. Oh, Daddy will come back in. All right. In our restaurants, the way that I set up our prep is that our cooks would cut the seed out, we par steam it, and then we cool it down and bag it. Ulu has a season. So when it's in season, we try to pick up as much as possible and then preserve it so we can use it year round. And I know you can't see it, but my hands are actually getting pretty sappy. I'm gonna rub it with some oil later on and get the sap off. Okay? So at this point, if we were to take our raw ulu and if we were to, like, say, put it into a bag and freeze it, we would have a harder time cooking it later. I always like to steam, or we would steam it. You could steam or boil your ulu first to cook it and then freeze it. And if you want to understand why, it has to do with cellular walls and water. When you freeze something, what happens, right? Water expands and it bursts the cellular walls. That's the reason why, if you guys ever made beef stew and like froze the beef stew with the potatoes and stuff, defrost it and then heat it up again, you know, sometimes you get like real kind of spongy, mealy potatoes. You can imagine all the cellular walls of a potato burst. It released all of its water, and that's all you have left is this sort of spongy, empty material sort of thing. When we cook our ulu, we already take care of that process, and we freeze it as is. So while I don't quite understand why it doesn't come out spongy, all I do know is that when you part cook your starches and then freeze it, it's easier to work with later on. So from here, we'll steam it, take care of it. But in the meantime, over here, I've had my, let me try and grab it. I've had that mature ulu going, okay, in salted water with baking soda. I love fries. I also think that to get our keiki to, you know, eat new ingredients, to get people that are not necessarily, maybe they're not quite as open to trying new things, you want to connect the dots, right? You want to make something identifiable. If any of you remember, like Chef Dave's, you know, Chef Dave's demo that he did, it's something that people can relate to, right? I'm not going to make something funky and then try to get, you know, someone to try it that might not, you know, be a fan of trying new foods. So fries it is. And if I can be honest, I was not the biggest fan of baked fries. And before you raise your voices at me, the reason why is this. My perfect fry is kind of like the town restaurant French fry, right? It's super crispy on the outside, just creamy enough on the inside, covered in herbs and salt. Favorite French fry. So how can I replicate the cooking environment that a deep fried fry would have? And what I learned through trial and error is that you actually need to do a little bit of prep. So while some people might say like, well, this is a lot of work, good food takes time. Remember that. So we got this going for a few minutes now. Frankie, what do you think? Are we close?
Think so?
We're close?
Yeah.
My daughter thinks we're close. I'm going to trust her.
I'm watching a few questions that are coming in, so I'm trying to be the assistant with the most. And just for those that have asked the question, you can make ulu fries with skin on or skin off. So if you got the Kumu Ulu kit, that came with the ulu that's already been prepared for you and par cooked. If you're doing fresh ulu, you can do it either way. The chef at Magic's in Kona makes these really yummy ulu fries, and he does it with the ripe skin on, and they're very yummy, both for kids or for adults. So you can do it either way, skin on or skin off. It's just important that it's cooked all the way through.
By the way, he does them in clarified butter, and they are amazing.
They're so good.
Okay, so Frankie took our part cooked ulu out. Thank you, daughter. And if you look at them underneath, and I'm sorry, it might be a little bit hard, but they're actually a little bit translucent. So here's what happens with the baking soda. Part of every type of carbohydrate or different types of starchy products have different levels of starch. Okay, follow me. So with potatoes, when we do that two-step blanching process, right? You cook it, you gelatinize the outside is what it is. Well, ulu reacts a little bit differently than potatoes. And what we found is that when you take an ulu and just throw it in the oven to bake it, it creates a kind of a leathery skin. I want like a crisp crust is actually what I'm going for. by cooking it in a slightly alkaline water, baking soda, you begin to break down the natural enzymes that hold it together. One thing that happens is you begin to break down pectin. When you break that pectin down, I can create an almost mashed potato-like consistency on the outside. Then I'm gonna oil it, season it, throw it inside a ripping hot oven, and get that bugger crunchy. Frankie, you ready? Remember the fork part. So one thing that Frankie can do quite well is she can help me set up the crust. She's got her own fork already. So Frankie, take your fork. I'll do two, you do two.
Show them how
I want
to do it.
scrape the top.
Remember?
Yeah. Scrape the top. Atta girl.
So it's kind
So
of
we
like
hold
we're
it.
prepping our soil for planting. We're just scraping it up a little bit.
That's true. Aerating it, right? Nice. Y'all know who the brains in the family is now, right? I'm just the looks. Okay. So we're gonna rough up the edges. Now at this point, it could be a big steak fry, but I wanna make it look a little bit more like a contemporary French fry. You know that you've done a good job when the outside of your ulu is gonna feel tacky, like this, like a mashed potato. Okay. What you got, babe? Oh yeah, you can pull it out. All right. I'm gonna turn it. Scrape up. So I'm scraping up all the sides here. Put on the timer. Go for it. Put them on. You know, when I look now and I watch the way that we cook with our family, it's not that it's hard, but it's hard work. And you know, our ladies have been a part of our life through work and everything from the start. And I look at the way that they're not scared of like picking up on a knife. You know, Frankie, she helps in the dish pit now. So it's all about consistency, which is kind of like, you know, how we cultivate food, right? It's about taking care of it and being consistent. So same thing. You want to cut? Can you do me a favor? Can you cut everything in half?
So another question that came in for anyone who's tuning in from the mainland, from the continent, if you have sweet potato, we call it u'ala out here, you can also practice this recipe using sweet potato. So it might not turn out exactly the same, but for the most part, what we do with ulu or what we do with the starch, we can do with other starches. So I would say play with it a little bit, but you could definitely try doing u'ala or sweet potato fries using the same method. And actually, we'll probably try that Hawaii ulu co-op carries the same par-cooked sweet potato ulu. So we'll probably try making some ulu fries as well. We have these beautiful purple Okinawan sweet potatoes here. And whatever variety you have, I think it's important to just watch, make sure you've cooked it thoroughly, but not too much. You don't want to have a mushy fry. So it's important to still have a firm product when you're making something like a fry.
That's right, babe. Ah, brains on these ladies. Oh yeah, all right. Okay, so we got this thing nice and roughed up. We got a little mashed potato crust. Let's get cranking over here. You can use whatever oil you have around. In our house, we're really big on garnishes, and for one reason or another, we cook a lot, so we have all kind of random stuff inside our refrigerator. So this right here is a little bit of garlic oil. We made some fried garlic, you know, a couple weeks ago, so we kept this around. So what I'm gonna do right now, you could use pan spray if you wanted, but I like to use what I get. So cookie sheet, quarter sheet pan, whatever you got around, use them. Okay, couple spoonfuls of oil at the bottom, nice and.
Anyone who's brave in cooking along with us as we go, make sure your oven should be at 500. What Mark's doing right now is well-greased pan that they're going to put the fries onto. So this is our first round of cooking our fries. Are you going to put them?
No, that's it. That's the one. I will come in after.
This is also, it's all preference. If you see our fries here, they look more like probably a potato wedge than an actual fry. Will you put them over here so they can see them in the camera? And,
yes, chef.
And what we're doing here is we like ours, we like big, we still want it to be nice and smooth in the middle, but crunchy on the outside. For our girls, they like to cut them into even smaller pieces so that they're a smaller fry. So we go back and forth. Since Aki's with us, she likes the thick one like this. But if we had Ellie, we would be cutting them one more time. So I'm actually going to do one just so you see, because this is something that Ellie would want. Is to have one more small fry like this. So she likes. This is why they don't let me in the kitchen. But I want you to see at the end what it's going to look like when we have a smaller fry versus the bigger ones here. But it's all personal preference.
Totally.
And apparently we have different preferences. But they've
So
been good.
little family tidbit here. Between Amanda and I, we can rarely come to a movie that we agree on to watch together. It's one of those things, but we found a certain cowboy movie that we love together. So it works. One thing that I want to talk about ulu fries. Once you get in the oven, it's going to hold together a lot better. I'm going to season them right now. This is just some seasoning that I had in the cabinet. Salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic powder, pinch of sugar to round everything out, not to make anything sweet. Okay? I'm going to season the other side. You're going to find that with ulu, because ulu, it's not like a potato, you know, ulu almost has like a grain to it. It's the fibers go a particular way. So one reason why I like to keep everything nice and thick is the fact that it won't break up on you. Okay?
Chef Mark, someone's asking if they can use parchment paper instead of greasing the sheet.
You could. Yes, you could. The reason why that I add fat to, you know, I have the saying, fat is your friend. And if you use good, healthy fat, you know, then I'm okay with that. I understand that due to like preferences and dietary restrictions, some people go no fat. For me, fat is what's that word? It's conductive. Fat will conduct heat through. So when I put fat on something, it's also for the process of cooking, that the heat will transfer into the product quicker. But yes, you don't got to use fat if you don't want to. Parchment paper will be just fine. Okay, so we're gonna season it, well seasoned. We're gonna get into this ripping hot oven at about 500 degrees. And we'll hit the timer for 10 minutes. What are we gonna do for 10 minutes other than staring at my ugly face? I got you. What I wanted to show you was two sauces. The first sauce that I wanted to share is called hot ketchup. There was an amazing program. You know, COVID has put all of us in such extraordinary positions. Nowhere in the time of our lives have we been subject to a pandemic. And while there is heartbreak and closures and all of these things, these stress points of ours, I want to talk about things that we benefited from. And one thing was definitely coming together closer, you know, kind of closer as a family. Another thing that happened is you notice a lot of organizations doing amazing dynamic things. You know, Kokua Hawaii Foundation, Kokua Festival is live. After that, there's a bunch of other fundraisers and live concerts that are beautiful and amazing. We still got to celebrate our musicians, our practitioners, and all the people in Hawai'i that make where we live special. Well, cooking classes was another one. In Heia is between Papahana Kuola, Kako'iwi, and Paipaheia. They came up with a Na'ono Ka'aina, and it was selecting was 8 to 12 people in our industry, not chefs, but cooks or young bartenders to celebrate. And one of them was Alika from Mud Hen Water, Chef de Cuisine. I had the privilege of working under Alika when I was a cook at Town Restaurant, and he was a sous chef over there. But Alika came up with hot ketchup, which was taking the taro stem, cooking it down with all the ingredients to make ketchup, and blending it up that way. It was amazing. It inspired me to make a hot ketchup too. So please let me show you hot ketchup. There's a saying that we like to use in our ohana, Kokua get. And that's what this is too. I took some the taro stem. I took some taro scraps, let's see, onions, garlic, 5-spice powder, vinegar, cooked it all down and pureed it and turned it into this ketchup. It's you know, with the 5-spice, it definitely has an Asian lean to it. It doesn't have very much red pepper, so it's not that chili. But this is the one sauce that we got. Alika, thank you. Second one I want to do is kitchen sink sauce. And let's be real, gang. All of us here, when we, you know, when you come home after a busy day, it would be lovely to always have the time to, you know, make a little fresh loaf of bread, or, you know, take a chicken from live and slaughter it, prep it, and cook it. Yes, we love to cook that way, but quite often, you know, we had a full 10-hour day, had to pick all our kids up, take them to their activities, take them home. Oh, I forgot that I had to pick up something for work for the next day, and then come home, and you got 45 minutes to make dinner. So let's focus on that. This is what I call kitchen sink sauce. Here in the Werner Tarkowski Halle, that refrigerator right there, I actually have not really looked at what's in it, but we'll go figure that out. Okay, what do we got? I got Best Foods mayonnaise. Now, before you say anything, gang, yes, I understand that when you look at our thing of caution foods, yeah, mayonnaise is on this caution food. Okay, fine. But I was born and raised in Hawaii, and I love Best Foods mayonnaise. So what you gonna do about it? What I'm gonna do about it is cut it with a little bit of, let's see if there's some yogurt or sour cream. Oh, what I got in here? Oh! I got Kirkland yogurt. Now, the Werner Tarkowskis have been away for a month, so let's see what it looks like. Yahoo! Still good. Okay, got mayonnaise and yogurt. What else? In Southeast Asia, they have this wonderful flavor profile. It's called hot, sour, salty, sweet. In other words, if you take hot, sour, salty, sweet and balance it, whatever it is that you're making should be awesome. And I'd like to say that for me, that has been very much a roadmap in my cooking and my dishes, is that I try to think about those concepts and then put that forth.
She wants to help.
Yeah, get up here, baby.
Okay, go back in.
So we got our sour with the mayonnaise and the we got all that stuff there with the mayonnaise and the sour and the yogurt. Hot. I need something spicy, and like any amazing diver, Kimmy definitely has some killer hot sauces in here. Let's find a local hot sauce. Oh, yes, sir. Got him. I got him. Okay. So we found some hot sauce from the Kauai Juice Company, Mahalo Kauai Juice Company. And what I want to do here now is I'm going to take a rough ratio. 1 part mayonnaise to satisfy my stubborn local boy in me. And 3 parts yogurt. Okay? So I just get, yeah, can you go 3 times, babe? Big scoops. Atta girl.
Tap it in now.
Yeah. Kahi, hit it. Bing! Yeah!
Yeah, girl.
Go on.
Which one is this? You want count it. Big scoop.
You know, this is kind of how we got our kids cooking. It's whenever they have an interest in it, you bring them in, and even if it takes you 4 times the time, you do it.
Okay. One big one.
Okay, can you do this while I check the... So, we're at about, I would say we're about 7 minutes on the ulu. What do you think, Alex? We're at 7 minutes exactly. You guys, it's like dog luck today. I'm guessing everything. I just to let you know.
Good job.
Okay.
Mixing it together.
While my beautiful daughter is finishing up her sauce, if I can show you this right here. So it's been 7 minutes exactly. I'm gonna turn them with a spatula. Oh yes, yes sir.
Aki, can you tell them what you're doing? I'm mixing it together. We're mixing our yogurt and our mayonnaise together. And they're both white, like me. So it's hard to tell it when they're all mixed, so we just give it lots of mixing. And then, are you ready to give it a little bit of the hot sauce? Few dashes, maybe 3, because that's our number. Woo, good job.
Chef Mark, if they don't have yogurt, can someone use buttermilk?
Buttermilk might be a little acidic. You could probably try a couple drops to like mellow out your mayonnaise. I would say go for it and just taste it. Gang, there are no wrong answers to cooking. You know, all you got to do is try it. And one great way to try your food is like if you have your start and you want to know if you can add, you know, another ingredient, put some of that base, you know, there off to the side, add that questionable ingredient and taste it. There's only one way to find out. You know, for the buttermilk question, what I like about your question is that buttermilk is acidic and everyone can use a little bit of acid, you know, in your sauces. So try them, you never know. But real quick, so before it gets too cold, if you can see, the ulu is a nice golden brown, okay? We're gonna throw it back in the oven here.
So to review, we flipped the ulu?
We flipped the ulu. We flipped the ulu gingerly. That's where we got the golden brown. And back into the oven.
Okay.
Where you at, babe?
She's mixed. She's got her 2
got
mayonnaise, and we put a few dashes of hot sauce.
You want to put a few dashes of hot sauce in
We
there?
already did.
You already did?
Yeah.
Come on. Come on. No?
Mommy's gonna take
How about if I have it make it a little sweet? We're going to make it a little bit sweet. Ooh.
How should we make it sweet?
I also wanted to add, before we get too far, I wanted to share this. So, Kokua cat. You can't see her. Maybe you can. I'm going to blow her up over here. In the corner there is my sister-in-law, Alex Narayos, Nohoma, Chicago, Chi-Town, and also a very, very, very proud and valuable team member of Kokua Foundation and Keiki and Plow. But she was kind enough to pick some of these herbs from your guys' new property, right?
Yep, in Hawai'i, and then we have some rosemary here from Ha'ohau School in Kailua.
So mahalo, gang. So once again, use what get, right? I don't know what the heck is going on, but we're going to try with this stuff. So why not we chop up some herbs and throw it into our sauce here? All part of the kichisi sauce.
Get your veggies.
Frankie, can you pick me some? This is sage. Smell it. So one thing with your kids, right? Even if, you know, they're not going to love everything the first time you give it to them to try, to smell. But you got to keep sticking it in their face or sticking it in their mouth, okay? And slowly they will find, you know, really their palate, and they'll find, you know, they'll find their path. So this is sage.
How's it
Okay?
smell?
What do you think? Is it strong? And then even when they say like they like it or they don't like it, pull it out of them. What do you like? What don't you like? So sweetheart, do you like this smell? What do you like about it?
Because it smells sweet and it looks sweet.
It smells sweet and it looks sweet. And there you go. And it's a process, gang, okay? Sweetheart, what if I put a little bit of honey in here? Yeah? Okay, let's do that. So, everything in moderation. Hot, sour, salty, sweet. Okay, mix it up. Go for it, babe. One thing from here I like to do is go, honey, right tool for the right job. Go. Give on. You know, while Frankie is finishing this up, I needed to give a big mahalo to one of our participants today, Mrs. Yap, Janice Yap. Mrs. Yap was a teacher at Punoho School when many of us, of us Hawaii chefs were there at Punoho. including Michelle Carr, John Matsubara. Ed, did you have Mrs. Yap? I wonder if you had Mrs. Yap too, or if that was after your time. Nah, just kidding, just kidding. But really, Mrs. Yap, thank you. You provide the foundation for so many of us. It is such a full circle privilege to be able to share some manao with you today. So, thank you. All right, so here we go. We got a little bit of honey. Put some salt and pepper in it. Better? Yeah, good. Yeah, pick some sage. So mind you, gang, so right now we're probably about the 5-6 minute time. Gonna catch it and check it in a little while. I have faith that our oven is on point. Okay, no. Here we go. Slice it up. You gonna try? So hot, sour, salty, sweet, gang, yeah? So definitely we got a sour element to it. We have we have our yogurt mixed with just a little bit of mayonnaise, sweet with a little bit of honey. Salty. Since we are filming on the North Shore, well, why not some North Shore salt? This comes from Scott Potter and his ohana. Go for a bit. Scott's company, Halima Salt Company, you know, what I appreciate about this salt is that this palm kai is sourced actively. In other words, you know, Scott, he's always aware of where the water is the cleanest. That's where he goes, gathers it up, distills it, turns it down into salt himself. You know, no need to use Maldon salt or all kind of fancy French stuff. I don't care about that really. All I care about is over here in the great 808. Yeah, babe? One more time. Okay, mix them up. Give them. Go for it.
Where's your... Oh, here it is. Get it, girl. Nice job. How's it smell? Okay. Looking good.
So once we got that, we tasted it, I'm going to make it a little bit more pica with just another couple dabs.
She's a left paw like her mommy. But these are one of the things I think we first have the girls doing to cook with us. So those who have young kids doing things like whisking, there's something, I think even as an adult, there's something very satisfying about whisking things together. And it's easy, it's safe, and it's something they feel like they can master. So for our girls, it's always important. We try and make sure that they're mastering what they're doing to a certain level. It's fine to fail, and we learn from when we fail forward, as we say. But if you can give them little tasks like this that they can do every day to help you in the kitchen, it really helps build their confidence on what they can do. So we started with things like sausage. Now the girls scramble their own eggs. They can crack their own eggs. This one makes mommy omelets in bed on weekends.
Yeah?
Not too spicy?
A little bit? Little pica.
Little pica. But it's good.
So we're right about there again right now. Now from this point, depending on where you are, yes, you could just put it into a bowl and there you go. Ulu fries being a little bit more fragile since we're all sharing. I just kind of want to show you, I don't know, if I had a restaurant, if I knew how to actually cook, this is what I might do.
Shall we review why Daddy's doing things?
Okay, so yeah, go for it. So first thing that we did, right, was whether it's with the par cooked ulu or fresh, we peeled it, prepped it that way. We got into our salted alkaline water for about 10 minutes, took it out, roughed up the edges, oiled it down, slapped it into a ripping hot oven. And during that time, we prepared our sauces. What else did we do?
We brought it out, we flipped it.
Brought it out, we flipped it, put it back in,
Brought it out again.
brought it out again, and looked at what we had and made our sauce.
So remind me, why do we put the baking soda in the water? What does that do? Let's talk about, as we do with the girls, we say, put on your
Science hat!
science hat. Put on our science hat. And the reason that we put baking soda in the water was why?
It changes the alkalinity of the water. And sorry, I think I missed it. It actually breaks down the pectin, and it creates, you know, it helps create that starchy crust that we need to make a crispy fry.
So since we're not frying it and we're just baking it, by scraping it and creating that crumb on the outside of it, it allows it to have this crispy outside that we're going to see on our fries right here. Aki, you want to come help Dad plate up?
Can you pick up the French fries and put it down the same way I did?
Okay. Pick it up, hot pan. So when we're picking up hot pans, we remember to go from the top. And no, put this one down. Good. Bring it from the pan. So we always make sure we're not touching our wrist on the side of the pan. We learned that one the hard way.
Atta girl.
But we don't want them to be scared. I hope you can see her here. She's doing it all. Good job. From the pan.
Can you put this one
onto
over there?
The board.
In the corner?
Thank you to Jin Homesy. We've got beautiful boards here.
We kept it North Shore. 100%.
So, Aki, can you show them now? Look how beautiful you're plating it.
And there you go. We got some more beautiful herbs, and we want to really kind of gussy it up. Yeah, go ahead. Come on.
You're sweating in the kitchen like us. Don't forget to turn off your oven now that we took our fries out.
And that's it.
Let's turn your back sticky.
I'm gonna finish with a little bit of pot pie. A little hot ketchup. Put it wherever you want. There you go. All right, there you go. Okay. Give on. There you go. Okay. All right. And that's it. That's not good, babe. Right on. And that's all she wrote.
So Aki, I think this is Aki's favorite part is looking at our science activities. So can you turn this way so they can see you in the camera here and tell them, what do we use when we're cooking? What do we always do when we're cooking? We use our
eyes.
And what do we? Yeah. And hands. So we're using our eyes to look at things and see how they're different. When we look at the mature ulu and the ripe ulu, we see how they feel different, how they taste different, how they smell different, and how they feel different. And as we cook and we look at these things, it helps us to really understand the world around us, right? And at the end of it, we always like to do a little quiz. So the first question that we have, and you all can do this at home if you have your kit here, the skin, core, and seeds of ulu, are those edible, true, or false? True or false? Is the seed and the skin, is it edible? True, it's edible. There are how many? Do you remember how many different varieties of ulu there are? Over 100? Over 200? We think that there's over 200 different varieties of ulu. And the last but not least, ulu is a very important of our story here, but is ulu native to Hawaii?
No.
What is it? Tell them. Remember what it is? The uncles brought it over in the, say it loud so they can hear. And we call that a canoe crop. So ulu is a canoe crop, and we're really proud to have so many ono canoe crops here that we can eat with. And the book that's in your Kumu Ulu packet will teach you a little bit about the history of ulu, yeah? So I think we're about wrapping up. Obviously, we've got to do the last and my favorite part of cooking, which is tasting our ulu French fries. They're very hot. Don't burn your mouth on them. But we're so happy you guys joined us here. And thank you to Auntie Kimmy and Uncle Justin. We miss you. Thank you for letting us crash your house. I think Auntie Kimmy actually logged in and joined us to watch along with us from their trip that they're on in Alaska. We hope you bring us back lots of fish. Maybe our next cooking demo will be cooking whole fish with Auntie Kimmy. So,
and guys, you know, it means a lot for all of you to join us today. It's Sunday, and all of us could be anywhere else in Hawaii, and we all chose to share time together. So we mahalo you for that, yeah. So before we go, just the last ones, big mahalo to Hawaii Ulu Co-op, Kokua Hawaii Foundation. Please come check us out if you want to know and see more about what it is that we're doing. We are Mark Noguchi, and we'd like to mahalo you for your time. You say ahoy ho? Ahoy ho, gang.
Mahalo to everyone. Thank you to Whole Foods also, who helped sponsor our ingredients for the past 2 weeks. They are a partner of Chef Hui. And if you want to learn more about what we do at Chef Hui, you can visit our website, chefhui.com. You also can tune in to learn more about next week's cooking demo. There's going to be awesome things happening featuring our favorite ingredient of the month, which is ulu. And this isn't how we usually celebrate our farm to school month in October. It's one of our favorite months. We get to think of all of the cool things we're doing with our kids to learn in the garden and in the kitchen. So this is a different way of doing it, but we're just so happy to have guys like Kim and Jack and all of their staff who put together amazing educational things like this for us here. Yeah.
Mahalo, gang. Everybody, hang in there. We'll all get through this together, all right? Aloha.
Aloha.
Mahalo for joining us for session 2 for ＡINA Cooking for Change. Please share photos of you and your family cooking for change on Facebook or Instagram and tag Kokua Hawaii Foundation, Chef Hui Hawaii, Whole Foods, Hawaii Ulu Co-op. And if you don't have social media but would like to send us some pictures, please email them to aina@kokuahawaiifoundation.org. At the end of October, we'll be selecting 6 of our favorite photo submissions from the entire Cooking for Change series, and they will receive a $50 Whole Foods Market gift card. You will also all be getting a follow-up email with a link to this recording, so feel free to respond with any last-minute comments or questions. Make sure to register for next week's ＡINA Cooking for Change virtual family cooking webinar featuring Chef Lamont Brown, who will be making ulu pound cake with a guava glaze. Ahui ho!